head low elbow incident.
Fundora, blood coming out of his nose and his mouth.
He should be stopped really as a contest because it's not a contest.
The first 2 rounds though, Fundora looked absolutely scared.
I think against Tszyu, I think he loses.
That blood stained everywhere.
Yeah, you can't breathe and you're bleeding profusely as well.
I reckon Fundora was praying that the referee was going to stop the fight because of the blood.
Yeah, I think near at the end, I think Tszyu got back into it and he was having the better shots. Welcome back to BoxCast. Today we're going to be looking at talking about the fight between Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora.
The bloodbath.
The bloodbath is a better word, yes, with Simon. I think that is a much more apt word. And some of the undercard fights, because like the Pitbull was rather good.
Yeah, making a little bit
and actually, I don't know how many you've seen. I've seen the 4 fights. They were actually quite good.
Well, I was in France at the time, so I only watched one. I only watched the headline fight. To be honest, I watched the highlights of the Pitbull fight though.
Now subscribed to another platform to get the fight because it wasn't on Amazon in the UK. It was on Amazon in the US, and it's on Triller TV or something in the UK. But yeah, we'll start with Mr. Tszyu and Mr. Sebastian Fundora. What do you think? Well, it started out. I'll put mine. Tszyu was just about getting on top for 2 rounds. And then a certain head low elbow incident, and he got his cut on his top of his head.
It started out pretty much as I think we said it was going to, didn't we?
First round we were feeling, about half the round we were feeling out.
I gave the first 2 rounds to Tszyu, to be fair.
Yeah, I had to make that as well.
Because Fundora was eating right hands.
Well, he's flicking his jab out, but like
I think Fundora broke his nose in the first round as well.
Well, I think Tszyu broke his nose.
Tszyu broke his nose in the first round, and then obviously at the end of the second, he had that cut right on the top of his head there. And anyone who knows, if you've cut the top of your head there, it bleeds profusely. And then the fight just completely changed. But fair dues to Tim, he didn't stop trying. I don't think he could see a thing. He didn't stop trying. Fundora, blood coming out of his nose and his mouth.
Well, you got to give credit to both. I think they're both warriors. They both carried on. So you can't say that neither of them can't put up with adversity.
I thought it should have been stopped in the 4th and declared a no contest.
I think it should have been stopped as well. Well, there's 2 sides, shall I be honest? There's the side that you should be stopped really as a contest because it's not a contest. It's not fair on either. And at the end of the 4th, it was probably 2-2. So it was a draw anyway. Yeah. But I think it should have been called off and no contest because you can't fight like that. He's broken nose and can't. It's blood gushing down. And the other guys... And then there was the other side, and probably what the promoters thought. We've got all these people here. This is on pay-per-view. Yeah. We need this fight to go ahead. As good as the undercard fights were, the 3 other ones I seen.
Yeah, I just think Tszyu's game plan went out the window, didn't he? Didn't it? After
you can't do
that. He couldn't. Yeah, I mean, you could see him all through the third, just wiping his eyes.
Stop it just by the time he's on when he's on the stool. And by the time he's got up to get to the centre, you'd already blood dripping down. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? He'd get 1 or 2 good hits and then it's just streaming.
But no, you
got to give credit to Fundora as well.
He did what he had to do.
He stuck to his game plan.
Apart from the first 2 rounds, though, Fundora looked absolutely scared and stiff. And I thought...
Well, he was trying to do the same thing. He was flicking out the jab, but obviously with Tszyu fully operational, I think he worked them out, timed them, and he was just hitting them. And like he said, he'd broken his nose by the first.
I thought it was going to be over.
Hit him a few times,
quite quick.
Right. Yeah.
Thought this ain't going another few rounds. And then obviously,
I think he'd have done him by about the 6th round.
The elbow
changed it. But you can't really blame Fundora because it was Tszyu. But
I mean, a lot of people are saying,
it's accidental.
Deliberate. No, it wasn't. He's put his elbow there. Tszyu's come in with his head, and it's called.
You've got to remember he's 6'6", so his elbow, his elbow was about there, like just above his waist. Except obviously that's higher than normal. So, I think that's like.
I think Fundora
just unfortunate. Fundora's game plan worked after that. Once he got hit,
it worked after
from
that.
like the third round onwards. Once Tszyu slowed down, especially it took him a couple of rounds to get back to like working out how he could actually do something.
I reckon Fundora was praying that the referee was going to stop the fight because of the blood.
Yeah. Well, the good luck story of it is that now this his sister Gabriella and him are both the first, I think, sister and brother to be active world champions.
Yeah.
Which is quite a nice story. And then they're a family who boxes and stuff. So from that point of view, it's quite nice to see. And obviously, he'll get a decent pay packet and some stuff now. So from that point of view, but as a fight and a contest, Tszyu had the upper hand until the accidental bit, and it really should have been called off.
Do you think there'll be a rematch ordered?
Well, he said there is, but I've just seen today that there's Mr.
Errol Spence.
Well, Errol Spence and Crawford have stepped in. So they're saying it may be Crawford and Fundora. And but then I've seen another thing, the Fundora and both Tszyu, because the amount of damage they've taken, they're suspended for 6 months or off for 6 months.
Yeah,
so it might be Spence versus Crawford at 154 for one of the vacant belts.
Yeah, I mean,
the WBO or something.
I think it's got to go, from what I've read, they've got so many days to work it out.
And neither of them are fit to fight and work it out in that time. And I think they've said Crawford's got till the 25th to work it out with Fundora, but I don't think Fundora's going to be able to box. So it's likely it's going to be a Spence and Crawford.
I mean, they could, to be fair.
They should have a rematch.
Should have a rematch, but Crawford might be clever and get that fight penciled in for November-ish.
Yeah.
October, November. That gives him enough time. Have a little fight in the meantime. And then he can fight for his...
You can have a warm-up 154. Yeah. I mean, he's good enough to beat most people. He's probably good enough to beat all the champions of that weight. Forget, like...
So he might
if
do
he carries his power up, so...
be interesting to know whether is it the WBO, isn't it? I think.
It was WBO was Tim Tszyu's belt and WBC was the one they put on.
I think the WBO...
Fundora was the mandatory.
It's the WBO
They're the ones,
afforded.
if they don't sort out, they're going to take it off. Because obviously they want their
I mean,
own
but if
guy.
you're... It's basically like a suspension from boxing, isn't it, for 6 months? If you're suspended from boxing for 6 months because of injury, I don't think you should be allowed to take the belt off him. I
don't think they should take the belt off. I don't agree with this with the champions, because it's different if you take the belt off because they're on purpose avoiding. Although most of them seem to be less prone to taking it off when people are just avoiding fights with the other big champions. But they seem to take it off when they don't get their own way.
Yeah.
When the champion's actually trying to fight everybody, but he can't have a fight with everybody because it's undisputed or unified, because they like to have their own champion. I think that's why the WBO, because obviously Tim Tszyu was the WBO and he's lost this one.
I mean, I don't think it's... apart from the injuries, I don't think it's damaged reputations because, you know, you can...
Well, I think Fundora's probably raised us a little bit.
Yeah, it's
and
raised.
Tim Tszyu hasn't lost anything.
No, because they'll just say, it was the cut. And what you will say is Tim Tszyu never, ever stopped trying. And it basically was blind through the fight.
And his corner didn't quit. And then it was still close. Because I think...
It was close.
I think it was a bit closer than the scorecards. I think it was more... Because I had it closer to be like a draw, because I think in the latter rounds, I think Tim Tszyu got back into it once he adapted a little bit. And they tidied the cuts up a little bit better.
I mean, I give it Fundora by 2 rounds.
Yeah, you could see that.
That's what I give it.
Well, the 115, 113 card was the one I thought was probably accurate.
Yeah.
I did it because I thought that, I think near the end, I think Tszyu got back into it and he was having the better shots than Fundora. I think in the middle rounds, Fundora basically did his game plan, jab from distance, which isn't his normal way of fighting. But he said, I'm sticking to my plan. And his plan started working when Tszyu couldn't see. It didn't work when Tszyu could actually operate properly.
No, like I say, the first 2 rounds, I mean, Fundora was eating right hands.
It just looked like Tszyu was going to turn it up.
Yeah, he looked like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
He really, really did. He was like, uh-oh. And I thought, like I say, this is going to be over in a couple of rounds.
Looked like he was a bit outclassed.
And like I said, I didn't see the cut to start with. I just seen Tim Tszyu when he was walking back going.
No, because he turned round, didn't he?
And I was like, but what's happened here? Something's happened.
No, because normally in a fight, if it's an elbow, it's coming across. You can see it. Nobody's seen it. I don't think at the beginning. He just went with his head down like that.
And then you looked in the corner and I saw it was on the top of his head. And it reminded me of when Khan fought Barrera. Barrera had the same type of cut and it just poured.
Yeah.
And they stopped that fight because of the cut.
Well, here they should have stopped it because both of them.
Yeah, I mean,
if it was one-sided, if like Fundora was fine, I could see him carrying on. If Tszyu goes, no, it's fine. But when the doctor came after, it's going to get stopped now.
I liked one of the comments I read was on one of the guys. I forgot who it was. He basically put Tszyu looked like he's been run over by a lawnmower.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure lawnmower, but yeah, he wasn't in the. Because other than that, he was fine.
He was. I mean, but what you got to it had lost a lot of blood, though. To be fair,
Yeah. Well, in the middle of the fight, he did look like he was lost.
He lost a lot of blood.
But near the end, I think they gave him a little bit of a kick, and he got going again, and he started working him out a bit. But yeah, you just punch him blind. It's like, no matter how good you are, I think that's a thing. And like I said, you got to give credit to Fundora because he didn't give up either. He didn't. See, the referee came up a few times. Can you breathe? Because his nose,
his nose
bleeding profusely as well.
Yeah, blood coming out of his mouth. Gob, it was just like.
Well, they said the more dangerous thing is if you swallow the blood, isn't it? It's worse. Yeah. And he goes, that's probably worse than his cut. He goes, his cut's just running down, right? You can't see. So from fighting point of view, it's worse. But he goes from safety point of view. Yeah,
because he wouldn't have been able to breathe properly because of his nose being broken and the blood going into the back of his throat and then coming out of his mouth. So fair dues to both guys. Both guys, I think, can go down as warriors.
Yeah.
And they didn't give up.
They both earned respect. And like I said, Fundora's probably gone up a little bit in estimations. And I think Tszyu hasn't lost anything. There's no shame in that.
I think...
And to be fair, both of them were like pretty good afterwards as well about it. He was quite good considering the circumstances, and Fundora was like, yeah. I think they both knew. Fundora knew that if he didn't get that, he was probably going to lose. So, with the best will in the world,
you know what, though? I
much
think
confidence.
If they have a rematch,
I think it'll be a better fight.
Yeah,
I think Fundora will get a bit more confidence.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Fundora will be a lot more confident, and I think he might open up a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I think he'll stick to the game plan, and if he gets going, then he will, and then it's up to Tszyu to turn it.
I mean,
because he's going to know what Tszyu's going to do now as well. So if they analyse the things, I think it'll be a better fight. I want to see it. It'd be good.
Yeah, I definitely think. I think
a rematch next would be the best, like the actual best, fairest thing to do. Yeah. But you can see if they take other fights, because I think both of them can get other fights.
Yeah, I mean, they're both big enough stars, aren't they?
Well, if Crawford takes Fundora away, do you think Spence should have a fight with Tszyu?
I don't think
Spence beats Tszyu if Tszyu doesn't have an elbow in his head and makes a bleed. I think Tszyu could beat him.
The problem I have with Crawford, I understand it.
Crawford is special,
but they're not. Well, they're only fighting once a year, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it annoys me. I know we've been through this topic a million times.
Credit. He's in shape to fight. He's always in the gym. Yeah, it's just that nobody comes up and fights him. So,
but Spence
is more. I think he's still recovering. He looks better now because when he came in the ring, he looked a bit better than he did.
Is he going to fight though?
I don't know. If I was him, I wouldn't want to fight either of them. I think that Fundora he could probably have a good contest against, and he could get the belts. I think against Tszyu, I think he loses. Because he's not the naturally bigger guy. He's not going to bully him. Tszyu's like more than not capable physically at that point.
He's got some power, Tszyu, hasn't he, as well? I mean, he read the punches.
And skill, his speed was, like I said, the 1-2 he got through was in like the first round, second round. It was like, Fundora was like, you basically, like you said, like didn't even see it coming. But he's like, that's what got him really up his nose.
Like I said, I'm disappointed that the cuts happened because... Like I say,
it's ruined.
It has ruined, and I've been watching Tszyu for a few years now, and he's a good fighter, world-class fighter, and I thought if he did a job, this would that next step to elite. I still don't think he's an elite fighter, although a lot of our listeners was saying he is an elite fighter.
Well, I think he had to win here than he was.
Yeah.
He's in the top tier of that 154
and I wouldn't
competition.
That's why I want to see the fight again. No cuts. And I think he'll come back and...
Oh, there's no... You can't... It's not like a loss, really. No. It's a stain on his record, but really, it should have been stopped. It should have been taken...
That blood stained everywhere,
yeah.
I mean...
It's just a blood stain. It's
have
not a stain.
Have you ever seen a fight
on a fight
with so much blood everywhere?
No. How they didn't stop it? I was like, oh, it's going to get stopped now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to get stopped. And then you were working out the scores. Well, it's 2 rounds there. Oh, Fundora might win this because he's about 3 rounds up by 5.
I don't know how they didn't stop it.
Yeah.
I think it's the stubbornness is you basically going, you ain't stopping this.
Yeah, I think his corner and him kept going it.
Yeah.
I think you're right. A bit long, I think Fundora was like, I ain't going to get him out of here. This guy's just going to keep coming and he might come back. No, let's stop because I'm ahead now on round points. Let's get out of here. No disrespect to him, but I would be in the same situation. I think if you can't breathe and you're bleeding profusely as well.
But it was a good fight in the end.
But to be fair, it was entertaining. So.
It was because you didn't know what was going to happen, did you?
Yeah. But it kept you gripped till the end.
Yeah,
of the fight.
I mean, like I say, the first 2 rounds, I was like,
it's going to be over by a 5 or 6.
It's going the way I thought it was going, and then you were like, third round, you were like,
the equaliser came in.
Hold on a minute, Fundora's got a little bit of confidence.
Well, he
hold
grew,
on,
didn't he?
you can't say anything.
But how it didn't get stopped, I don't know. For safety and everything else, I don't know how that didn't get stopped. Like I said, I think that they charged a bit too much of the pay-per-view that they needed to get.
Tell you
and
something.
It's the first one on Prime, wasn't it?
I bet. Yeah, I was going to say it's that. If there weren't 2 belts on the line, I think it'd have been stopped as well.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of politics that kept it going.
Yeah.
And the stubbornness of Tszyu in his corner.
Maybe we're wrong, but no, I agree with that.
Maybe being a bit cynical, but I think so.
I agree with that. I think in a...
I watched it afterwards, innit, because it was obviously on the inconvenient time for us, but watched all 4. So I thought I'll sit through thinking I'll fast forward to the first one, but they were all really good. So I got to there and I was like hyped up because they were all really building up to really good fights. And then you get to his, and then it started, and I thought, yeah, it's going the way we said now. Part of like being, like, oh, well, yeah, we were right on our podcast. But when it changed, and then I thought, oh, it's going to get stopped. Then I thought, why aren't they stopping it? And then I thought, okay, yeah, pay-per-view. That's why, and 2 belts and stuff.
Yeah. Be interesting what the pay-per-view figures were for that.
Yeah.
Because weren't they charging some crazy
in
amount
America,
for
it was $75, I think.
Wow.
It's £20 here, but to get that, because I think they put the first ones on free, don't they? And then they put the 4 fights. So the package that whatever I got was $19.99. That was worth it. 75, no, maybe not. But £20, it was worth the fight.
75 would want to be at the fight.
Yeah, just for that fight, I don't even think 20 is. But I think because you had Pitbull underneath and the other guys, there's 4 world title fights basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think it was the first Amazon are pushing their package or platform. For them, I would say it's worth £20. So say $30, but 75 is like. Although in America, all those things are that sort of price. So I think we're just used to our. $14.99. Well, it used to be $14.95. Now it's $19.99, $19.95.
Yeah, just sort your pricing out because that's just wrong.
Yeah, well, but we're not in America, so we're right.
Yeah,
it's okay. Well, I thought it was going to be on Amazon Prime, so we'd have been like, well,
that's
and then
what
it doesn't come up on anything.
That's what I thought, to be honest.
How to get it. Googled how to get it, and it goes, this Triller TV, and I'm like, well, I've never even heard of that. And then it's like, okay. But you can sign for free, and then it's a pay-per-view on the thing, so I thought I might as well. There's investment in our podcast. But yeah, so it was quite interesting. All right, well, we think rematch there it is. Next fight, Mr. Romero and Isaac Cruz. Have you watched that?
Watch the highlights. It's a good fight on it.
Cruz lives up to his name, Pitbull. He was amazing. I think Romero gave it a good go, but he wasn't physically dominating. He couldn't dominate him. It was Pitbull who was more dominating, and his power didn't bother him. It was like watching in a way, or somebody when they come forward. But but in a way, looks like the poster boy. It's Pitbull just looks like he's mean, so he means business, and yeah, he just basically turned it on, caught him, did him over.
I'd like to see where this
fight.
Yeah, it was.
I think because he stepped up for this, isn't it? So I think that's a
super
statement
light,
performance.
Isn't it? Super lightweight.
140 is quite tasty now. Have you had a look at the champions? Sabriel Mateus, Pitbull, Isaac Cruz, Devin Haney, your boy, and
Devin Haney's the king.
Teofimo. That's quite a nice mix of characters. If they don't avoid each other.
I don't think they can avoid each other anymore. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to have to fight each other.
Because both Mateus and Isaac Cruz look menacing. Devin Haney's got the skill. and Teofimo's like a little bit in the middle of both in it. But I don't think any of them are physically going to dominate the others because they're all strong in that weight. So I'm intrigued. I'd love to see what happens with them. Do you think Rolly Romero was off it, or was? I don't think he was off it. I think he performed well. It's just that Isaac Cruz was better.
Yeah, I just think Isaac Cruz was better on the night, plain and simple. I think Isaac Cruz now was he 25, 26?
He's only 25.
It's time.
But he's been fighting since, because we do the tail of the tape, isn't it? And that other one, and he's been fighting for 9 years, but he's like 16.
I mean,
they start young, don't they? These Mexicans, so. He's he's perfect age for going up. He's probably going to get a little bit better yet.
I mean, Cruz fought Gervonta Davis, didn't he? Got beat.
He's the only person who didn't get knocked out by him.
And then
one of the few.
And I think maybe that came a little bit
too soon
for him. But he's rebuilt. He's had a couple of wins against Gamboa.
He's had good opposition.
And
good wins.
Yeah, Romero. Time for him to step on the gas, innit? Get them big fights. And I think he's just going to want them big fights now.
Well, I think he's got the belt, so he can demand now a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, with them, but it's just interesting who he'd go up against because they'd all look like tough fights. With Haney, Teofimo, Sabriel, Matias, and him. Well, they're the power punching, both of them. All of them are like capable. Haney was the one who's probably most skillful. But
thing is even if these fighters start fighting each other, a loss ain't going to do many damage.
Not against that type of caliber of
because
opponent.
There's still plenty of fights out there.
Yeah. And there's a fair few around that weight, isn't it? It's an interesting division.
The top 10 is stacked.
Yeah.
Absolutely stacked. And I don't think he can...
Well, there's obviously Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, which is coming up soon.
Yeah, but I don't think you could pick and say out and out who the best is.
No, that's why it's intriguing.
I mean,
it depends what style
I'm
you
a
prefer.
Devin Haney fan, but I couldn't 100% say he's the best in that division.
No.
I'd say 70% he's the best in that division.
I think he's the most skilled, pure skill-wise.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always win you.
But I think
Teofimo's got power. Matias has obviously got power.
I think there's fighters there
that determination and power. They can change it because if they catch you, suddenly that skill doesn't matter.
But I think there's fighters in there that you could,
and I think there's a few more in that top 10 that are dangerous.
You mean you could have a few such and such against such and such, and they'd win, and
Garcia can win because
they'd lose against a different type of opponent. There's a lot of different styles that could.
Yeah. That's why it's intriguing because they're all slightly different styles of, and not slightly different, quite a lot different.
Yeah, and there's a couple of British lads up there.
Haney's, I think, has carried his power. He looks better at this weight than he did at the lower weight.
Although I was watching Ryan Garcia's spar yesterday.
He looks pretty good.
He does look good.
Yeah.
After us slating him that he might not mentally be ready, he looks good.
Yeah, I think there might be a bit of, the play in the game, I think, slightly. Well, we hope so, like we said in the video. I think hopefully he'll get better. It will happen because that's an intriguing fight.
But that division is becoming red hot.
That's a stacked division.
Red hot.
And we like it.
I love it.
Yeah,
love
fantastic.
It. Long may it continue. Let's get some more. Be interesting to see if the Saudis got involved in that division.
Well, I think the Prime thing with PBC and stuff is their attempt to get because this was a good card because the other two fights
was a good card, yeah.
But
my worry is it just a one-off good card to?
Well, yeah, that's the only thing. But it was because it's a launch one, isn't it? So it's whether they can continue with that kind of thing. But they've got some good fighters on that list, isn't it? Just let me find it. Go on.
I hope they do continue, eh?
Tszyu versus Fundora undercard. Let me just see if it's good, because I'll tell you which fights I watched in it. And there's Rolando and Romero, Isaac Cruz, we've used it. I've spelt it wrong on here. Erisland Lee Lara and Michael Zarafa. Have you seen that? The knockout.
Lara.
Yeah. He's 40 years old. Doesn't box like he's 40 years old.
40 years old, wow.
He's going to be 41 soon, I think. He cleaned out Zarafa. He worked him out, set him up, thingy, and then just knocked him out. It was a pretty good performance. And before that, it was Julio Cesar Martinez versus Angelino Cordova for the WBC flyweight title. That was a good fight as well.
Isn't
Cordova was outboxing him a bit, but Martinez was just coming forward, and then did him. But it was a good contest because it was like a more skilled guy against the guy who just goes forward. And then Erislandy Lara was just Lara. He's a good boxer, isn't he?
He is a good boxer. But
Zarafa didn't have enough for him, nowhere near. He worked him out in the round, first round, second round, got him, bam, bam.
Thank you. Like I said, I just hope that is it classed as Amazon?
And that was a world title. That was a WBA middleweight title.
Yeah. Is it classed as Amazon?
It's Amazon Prime in America. Yeah. But it's PBCs and they like roll up, isn't it? So,
well, I hope you continue with that.
But if you think of that, there's like, I didn't see the first two, well, we could probably watch them, but Brian Mendoza was on, the guy who beat these two. So there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 world title fights. And quite good, like the flyweight title, WBC flyweight, WBA middleweight, WBA super lightweight, which was Cruz's one.
Was the WBA sponsoring it by any chance?
Maybe. Well, there's a WBC fight, 2 WBA and then WBC on the that they threw into Fundora and Tszyu. And WBA was Tszyu. So it's quite a good list. And Mendoza's a good boxer, although he got beat by Tszyu, but he beat Fundora.
The big one will be is what they do next.
Yeah.
What fights he put on next?
They need to do it like that. If it's like that, then you can sort of justify the pay-per-view thing because it's not just the main fight. I think it's difficult to do just on a main fight, especially with what happened.
The thing is with the massive fights getting made now. And if you want to compete, you've got to make these massive fights. It's great. It's great for boxing. It is absolutely superb.
Well, PBC were the ones we were moaning about that haven't stepped up. But like this looks like their attempt to step up.
Your Queensbury, your Matchroom.
Well, they've got in it, haven't they? They're on it.
Sauerland have kind of joined in with them with a few of their fighters, haven't they? You need your your Golden Boy, your PBC to...
Well, Golden Boy are the one that are
step up their game. And Boxer from Sky Sports, yeah, they had a good domestic clash on at the weekend. But everyone needs to start stepping up now, get these big fights made.
Well, I think if they don't go, then internationally they're going to fall behind, and it's
huge.
Domestically they will have, but internationally you've got to go.
But then what I think will happen is your fighters are going to go, hold on a minute, he's getting how much? I'm fighting how many times and going over to Saudi, and you're paying me.
Well, they're getting good pay packets, plus they're doing 3 or 4 fights a year or whatever it is, isn't it? Or at least 2 or 3.
And you're paying me this. They're just going to go, I tell you what, I'll have a new promoter, thanks.
Yeah.
So
hopefully all of them step up is what we're saying. I think that's a summary of it, isn't it? They all step up for that. And long may it continue.
Yeah.
Gives us content to make, so we need step up, guys.
Do more. Do more.
Because the Saudis are definitely pulling their weight. And with Matchroom Queensbury, they're doing there's quite a lot there.
I mean,
I think the Matchroom v Queensbury's nearly done, so we'll have that
they've announced the weight for the 5v5. I think 2 fights have been confirmed, although...
Yeah, we'll leave that for...
but he's also saying he's going to do a 5v5 at Wembley in September. That could be huge.
Yeah, but we need these things.
Joshua Fiore.
It raises the profile of the sport internationally, because I think boxing had gone down a little bit.
No, I like the fact that he's basically saying, it's hard to get over to Saudi, so let's do something in England. He's noticed, the British fans we can't all travel to Saudi, unfortunately. It'd be great if we could.
Yeah.
So let's do something in the UK.
Well, it's promoting it, isn't it? It's promoting the boxing and then your bigger fights.
He's promoting Saudi as well. And Riyadh season.
You can understand.
Great stuff. But I think you'll find with the 5v5s, you're going to get a few one-fight signings.
Yeah.
Which 4
But it's fine
boxes.
as long as it makes a fight. We're
Which
happy.
no, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
absolutely brilliant.
So,
But then if you can get Golden Boy PBC, you have a Golden Boy versus PBC.
what's an obvious thing to do? If they don't want to jump on that ship, they've got the platform now. Jump and make
Oh, you
this.
can have a Golden Boy versus Matchroom. I mean, the fights you could make. It's it
the
is
opportunity's
exciting.
there to make a really entertaining product and really get boxing on, like, higher up the tiers of world sports.
And
I
it's
mean, it is in
starting to.
heavyweight, but I mean, if you get them in other weights, and there's some fantastic fighters in all the weights. I mean, we've just had the super lightweight division is fantastic by itself.
I mean, you could do
it's up to the top 10,
Yeah, I mean, you could do
probably a bit lower as well.
You could do a full
stack
card just for that weight
5
division.
and 5 on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what I mean? And if someone like the Saudi Prince would do that.
Yeah, yeah.
He would actually do that. He'd go, hold on, I could make 5 great fights there.
Well, it'd be perfect for like a Muhammad Ali trophy. Imagine that with them. That would be amazing. If you do like what they've done in some of these weights, that would be fantastic.
Unbelievable.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I think
great
that's the
stuff.
summary of it. It was just a thing. So I think rematch is a summary for
rematch
Fundora
for
and then you would be
Tszyu
a rematch.
Fundora. I think hopefully,
Look forward
like
to
you
it.
say,
And I think it's going to be a better fight this time around because
and
they'll
like-
both be a bit more.
probably 6 months. Both of them have got to take 6 months off now, basically, haven't they? So you're looking
You
at
want them to be fully fit. when they go
November
in.
time, aren't you? Watch this
Well,
space.
hopefully they set it up and they got it, and then they get recovered, and then by the time they train, it's 2-3 months. 3 months normally training camp, isn't it? So probably 3 months recovery and that, and then that'd be nice.
Yeah.
We've got other fights to watch in between, so we can wait.
Oh, we certainly have.
Okay, thank you very much
Thanks a lot.
for watching, listening, and like, subscribe, comment, all the usual goodness. Let you know who you'd like to see him fight. What did you think of the fight? Do you think it should have been stopped or let go? Were you happy that it continued? What did you think of the pay-per-view pricing, etc. for the event? Do you think it was worth it? The other fights in the world title fights in it, what do you think? And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.